call the meeting to order. This is the meeting of the Tennessee Fish and Wildlife Commission, Friday, August 24th, 2012. My name is William L. Brown. I am chairman of the commission. At this time, I'd like to ask everyone to stand and ask Commissioner Stout to do the invocation.
Let us pray. Lord, you are the ultimate creator. Lead and guide us to be good stewards of your great creation. We thank you for the men and women of this agency. We thank you for this commission. Give us wisdom to delegate and to give the rules of our authority out to the public of Tennessee. We thank you for this great state and the beauty of it. We thank you for the freedom that we have here in this country. We ask you to lift up our men and women service who are out still protecting our freedom that face dangers every day. We ask you to be with their families here, bring them home safely. Lord, be with this commission as we depart and go our separate ways and bring us safely back together. Through your Son's name, through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Barber, will you call the roll at this time, please?
Jim Bledsoe.
Here.
Jim Bledsoe is present. William Brown.
Here.
William Brown is present. Harold Cannon.
Here.
Harold Cannon is present. Bill Cox.
Here.
Bill Cox is present. Jeff Griggs.
Here.
Jeff Griggs is present. Jeff McMillan.
Here.
Jeff McMillan is present. Tom Rice.
Here.
Tom Rice is present. Jim Ripley.
Here.
Jim Ripley is present. Julie Schuster.
Here.
Julie Schuster is present. Clayton Stout.
Ma'am.
Clayton Stout is present. James Stroud. Here. James Stroud is present. Trey Teague.
Here.
Trey Teague is present. Jamie Woodson.
Here.
Jamie Woodson is present.
Thank you. I want to make an announcement at this time. We experienced some technical difficulties last night with our video transfer equipment, and as such, the commission meeting for yesterday has not been posted to our website. We're currently working on a resolution and will post both yesterday and today's meetings on our website as soon as possible. So that's for the benefit of the public. The next order of business is the approval of the minutes. Do I hear a motion regarding approval of last month's minutes?
Move for approval.
Second?
Second.
All right. Have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Okay, that's, all right. We have a fairly short docket this morning. There will be a sign-up sheet passed around. I'm not sure there's but 2 or 3 members of the public here. Larry, welcome. We've got Larry Richardson here from DU. Always glad to see you. Appreciate you coming. If anyone desires to address the commission, I'll ask you to do that during the time the subject matter about which you wish to address is being discussed. In other words, wildlife or fisheries, whatever that may be, at the appropriate time. Come to the center of the room at the microphone and state your name, and then state your business. If you represent a specific group, let us know who that is also, please. All right, at this time, we're gonna, I believe, Commissioner Cox, you had a request. There's a letter you wanted to.
We've got a letter here that I would request that Director Carter or Chief Wilson or someone read into the record, please.
Thank you, Commissioner Cox. Mr. Chairman, I received a letter this week from Johnny Morris, who is the founder and owner of Bass Pro Shops, related to some fisheries regulations, and at the request of Commissioner Cox, read the letter. It simply says, this letter is to voice concern about a proposed regulation that's been proposed to the Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency related to trophy catfish. proposals to repeal the 34-inch rule related to the trophy catfish. We very much salute the Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency for establishing the 34-inch rule and feel that this was a great move related to catfish conservation. I also know that my fishing buddy Bill Dance is very disturbed about this proposed regulation also. As you know, Bill's an avid catfish angler, and he probably understands more than anyone how great catfish are from the sport fishing perspective. As I understand it, one of the reasons for enacting the 34-inch rule in 2007 was to keep catfish larger than 34 inches from commercial sales to pay lakes in Illinois, Iowa, and Ohio. I know that Bill feels strongly that having these larger than 34-inch trophy catfish sent to pay lakes in other states negatively impacts the Tennessee sportsman. I know that you're pleased with the initial release of the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service national survey showing that fishing is up 11%. We're very excited about our continual increase in catfish sport fishing sales and the increased number of catfish tournaments that we see across the country. Our Bass Pro Shops fishing merchants tell me that sport catfishing has increased significantly with the 34-inch regulation that was enacted in Tennessee. Ed, thanks for your consideration on this matter. I want you to know that with the announcement of a Bass Pro store in Bristol and the Pyramid in Memphis added to our stores of Nashville, Sevierville, and North Memphis store, we'll have over 1,000 associates in Tennessee. We hope you will consider our views on this important fisheries conservation matter. I did want to relate before closing that catfish exhibits will be a big feature of the Memphis Pyramid store. Thanks for your leadership to Tennessee and its great fish and wildlife resources. And I simply wrote Mr. Morris back and told him that we were considering that regulation as a part of the fishing regulations that we're going forward now, that we'd make the final decision in October with the recommendation to the commission that we not change.
Thank you. At this time, we'll go to the Wildlife Committee and Commissioner Teague.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Today we have two action items for the commission to consider. One is the 2012-13 waterfowl season. The other is adding portions of 2 states to those with chronic wasting disease restrictions. I'll begin by asking Tim White, Agency Waterfowl Coordinator, to briefly review the waterfowl season recommendations.
Thank you, Commissioner Teague.
Thank you.
I've shortened this up quite a bit, so it's just basically the regulatory proposals. Proclamation 1215, the migratory bird hunting seasons for the late season 2012-2013. Our frameworks allow 60 days, the last Sunday in January, and 6 ducks is our bag limit. We propose the bag limit as allowed by the feds, 4 mallards, 2 of which could be females, 3 wood ducks late season only, 2 redheads, 4 scaup, 2 pintails, 1 canvasback, 1 black, 5 mergansers, 2 can be hooded, and we recommend adoption of these bag limits. Statewide duck season proposal for the statewide zone, November 24th and 25th, then again December 1 to January 27th. The real foot zone is November 10th and 11th, and then December 1st to January 27th. Our youth waterfowl proposed dates would be Saturday, February 2nd, and Saturday, February 9th. This would be a change from last year. It would be non-consecutive Saturdays. Our goose season recommendations are similar to last year with some small expansions. Our goose bag limits this year increased on Canada geese to 3 from 2. That's again during the late season. The Canada geese seasons for the statewide zone would be October 13 to 30. November 24th and 25th, December 1st to January 27th. The real foot zone, or the Northwest Canada goose zone, would be the October 13 through 16, November 10 and 11, and December 1st to February 10th. Blue snow and Ross geese, the standard season would be November 24th to February 10th. The conservation provisions season would be February 11th to March the 10th. Brant season would be November 23rd to 31st. White fronted, December 1st to February 10th. And those are our proposed seasons and bag limits for the late waterfowl season.
Thank you, Tim. Are there any questions or comments from the commission? Any questions or comments from the public? Mr. Chairman, yesterday the Wildlife Committee approved, and I move that we pass Proclamation 12-15, the 2012-2013 waterfowl seasons and regulations.
Thank you, Chairman Teague. The Wildlife Committee voted, and I recommend passage of proclamations 12-15. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All right, all in favor of passing the proclamation, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Proclamation passes. Thank you, Mr. White.
Mr. Chairman, the second item relates to chronic wasting disease. I'd like to ask Daryl Radachak, Chief of Wildlife, to explain the requested action. Good job, Tim.
Thank you, Chairman Teague. Yesterday, Chuck Yost, our deer coordinator, presented to the Wildlife Committee a request by the agency to expand our CWD containment zone. And what the request entailed was to add portions of 2 states. They include Davis County in Iowa, which you see highlighted right here. It was recently discovered CWD in a captive facility in that portion of the state. And the other portion, we'd like to add 2 counties in the far western portion of Texas. They include El Paso County and Hudspeth County. And if you see down or up in the big map there, it's just a small portion in the far western edge of Texas. The agency requests the Wildlife Commission to expand the CWD containment zone to include Davis County, Iowa, and El Paso and Hudspeth County in Texas.
Are there any questions from the commission? Any questions or comments from the public? Mr. Chairman, the Wildlife Committee approved, and I move to add Texas and Iowa counties as outlined to the list of those states with chronic wasting disease restrictions.
All right, thank you. All right, the Wildlife Committee has voted, and I recommend the passage of expansion of the CWD containment zones as outlined by Mr. Radajak. Do I hear a second?
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The motion passes. Daryl, did I understand you to say the county in Iowa that came from a captive zone? Is that
Yes, sir.
that'd be a deer farming facility?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
May I ask, is that, in the past, have these captive facilities been a common location for outbreaks of CWD?
That has been the main fight in this deer farming, is the importation of animals. Moving animals from facility to facility is what instigates the spread of many diseases. And unfortunately, CWD has been quite often linked to captive facilities.
The original outbreak when
In Colorado, and it was a research facility in Colorado, and then it started spreading from there. And many of the outbreaks seem to be traced back to captive facilities.
Thank you.
Daryl, just one last question. As far as to kind of piggyback on what Commissioner Cox said yesterday, as far as the agency's ability to give public notice to hunters about this, are we going to post something on the website possibly, or?
Absolutely. This regulation, as it's passed today, will be posted on our website. And our hunting guide that went out last month directs hunters that are hunting out of state to view the most current regulations as posted on our website.
Thank you.
All right, we will move to the Voting Law Enforcement Committee. Chairman Cannon.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Committee brings before the Commission Proclamation 12-14, temporary suspension of the no-wake zone on Nickajack Reservoir. Lynn Moats, Assistant Chief of Boating and Enforcement, is recognized.
Thank you. This is a request from the Outboard Drag Boat Association. They request to have a permitted drag boat race near Marion County Park on Nickajack Reservoir, October 12th through the 14th. And in order to do that, we would need to temporarily suspend the no-wake zone in that area. So it's a request to do that.
Thank you, Glenn.
Okay.
The committee voted yesterday unanimously to bring this before the commission for their approval. I will offer that the association has done a great job this year in being proactive and bringing it to us early so that this could be taken care of in an appropriate fashion. So our recommendation is to approve.
Thank you. The Boating Law Enforcement Committee has recommended passage of Proclamation 12-14, temporary suspension of a no-wake zone on Nickajack Reservoir, and I recommend passage of this proclamation. Do I hear a second?
Second.
All right, have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. I agree with you, Commissioner Cannon. That was a tremendous help from the organization to get this done well in advance of the time that they need this to be taken care of. So it makes it a lot easier for everybody. Thank you. Okay. At this time, we will go to the Budget Committee and Commissioner Schuster.
Thank you, Chairman Brown. The commission recognizes Director Ed Carter.
Thank you, Commissioner Schuster. Yesterday, we spent quite a bit of time talking about the budget and the different funds and what we were trying to do as we move forward and into both expansions into this year's budget and into improvements for next year's budget. A lot related to things that we were trying to repair, and a lot of capital improvement projects for the next year. I'd be glad to answer, of course, any questions that you might have. Essentially, we would be requesting that the commission consider passing the expansions to the 12-13 budget and the complete budget, including the improvements to the 13-14 budget.
Thank you, Director Carter. Chairman Brown, the Budget Committee and I move to approve the 2012-13 expansions in the amount of $5,911,000, and also move to approve the 2013-14 budget, including improvements in the amount of $77,807,100.
All right, the Budget Committee has recommended the approval of the budget for the year 2013-2014, and I recommend passage of the proposed budget. Do I hear a second?
Second.
All right, have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The motion passes.
Thank you, Director Carter.
Thank you very much.
Chairman Brown?
All right, is there any further business at this time to come before the commission? Director Carter?
Hey, Mr. Chairman, this is, I guess, is a housekeeping item. In the minutes that you approved a few minutes ago, it was the July minutes. There were also minutes from the June meeting, which of course was the last meeting of Tennessee Wildlife Resources Commission. And if it be appropriate, we'd ask you to consider passing those minutes as well, or at least accepting them as written from that June meeting of the previous commission.
Would it be, this is just a question, would it be appropriate for the commissioners that were on that commission to vote on that, or would the entire commission make that?
I think we included the minutes for the entire commission, but
Okay.
those people who are new to the commission would not have been here at that meeting, so I would think it would be appropriate in either way. I guess the 7 commissioners who were here at that time could take that action, or the entire commission as you see fit.
Well, I don't want to cut anybody out. You know, misery loves company. If you fellows want to join in with us, and you ladies, well, let's do that then. Do I hear a motion that the minutes that were included in with our minutes for July of the June meeting of the last Tennessee Wildlife Resources Commission meeting in June of 2012, do I hear a motion that those minutes be approved?
Move to approve.
A second?
Second.
All right, have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Okay, the motion passes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Any further business come before the commission? Our next commission meeting is September 21st and 22nd here in Nashville. So if there's no further business to come before the court, excuse me. That, I saw him, I'm blaming that on Commissioner Griggs. He got that started. That's a slip up, wasn't it?
Mr. Chairman, I
Yes,
think
sir.
the correct dates for the next meeting are the 27th and 28th of September.
I'm glad y'all told me. I'd have been here a week early. Director Carter, do you want an earlier meeting on Thursday morning like we did this time? Is there other matters that you need to take up with the commission?
Yes, sir. If that would be okay with the commission to meet again, we'll continue on with that orientation part that we had last time and bring in the other divisions that weren't able to present to you this last time.
Okay. Then everybody that can be here be at 8:30?
Yes, sir.
Okay, on Thursday morning, September 27th, okay? All right, any more corrections? You want to correct me again? Okay. All right, if there's nothing further, the meeting will be adjourned.